Hey, what's going on everybody, Amphithere here, and welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a look at one of, if not the best mythical creatures mod for the game, the Ice and Fire mod. This mod is available for Minecraft 1.16.5 all the way down to 1.12.2. If you want to download this, the link will be in the description below, but first let's get right into the video. So we're going to take a look at the mobs. And the mobs can be passive, hostile, or mini bosses. Starting off with the passive mobs, you have the Pixie. These can be pink, purple, blue, green, or yellow. They spawn near Pixie villages, which are found in dark forest biomes. They drop 0 to 2 Pixie dust, 1 Pixie dust if bottled, and 1 Pixie wing on death. If they're not targeted by the player, they can fly up to the player and steal an item from their inventory. The item can be retrieved by attacking the Pixie. You can catch them in a jar and collect pixie dust once the pixie sits. They can be befriended with cake. Pink gives strength, purple gives jump boost, blue speed, green luck, and yellow haste. Next is the Hippocampus, which can be blue, orange, turquoise, green, red, or yellow. They spawn in the ocean and the deep ocean. They drop 1 to 4 shiny scales and rarely a hippocampus fin. They are tameable with kelp. Once saddled, they can be tamed, carry chests, and be equipped with armor. You make them sit with a stick and they are bred with kelp. Next, for the neutral mobs, first we have the Hippogryph. It can be black, spawned in desert hills, chestnut, which spawn in birch hills, dark brown, which spawn in taiga hills, white, which spawn in snowy mountains, brown, which spawn in mountains, creamy, which spawn in savanna plateaus, gray, which spawn in dark forest hills, and dodo, which appears when a hippogriff is fed a glistering melon. They drop up to 5 feathers and leather, 1 hippogriff egg when bred, and have a rare chance to drop a hippogriff talon or skull. They will attack when provoked or when hungry. They will also attack farm animals and passive mobs, and they slowly regenerate health points. They can be tamed by dropping 3 to 7 rabbit feet. They can be saddled, carry chests, and equipped with armor, and you can make them sit with a stick. The dragon bone flute causes them to land, and domesticated hippogriffs will defend their owners. They can be bred with rabbit stew. Throwing an egg hatches a baby hippogriff, and it takes a day to reach adulthood. Next is the Amphithere, which can be blue, olive, red, green, or yellow. They spawn in jungles. They drop 1 to 7 Amphithere feathers and have a rare chance to drop their skull. They only fight when provoked and will protect villagers. If they're hit with a projectile, they'll fall from the sky and switch to land-based fighting. To tame it, you can mount it with an empty hand. A dragon bone flute will call it to the ground. It will defend its owner and will heal if you give it cocoa beans. The dragon command staff sets its home position. It can be bred with cookies. Next, we're on to the hostile mobs, and the first of which is the Siren. These spawn on top of Siren Islands, which are found in oceans. They drop 1 to 5 shiny scales, 0 to 3 prismarine shards, 1 to 5 prismarine crystals, and have a rare chance to drop a Siren tear. They will sit on their islands and sing. If a player gets within their sight radius, the player's screen will turn pink and they will be gravitated towards the Siren. When the player gets within 3 blocks of them, the Siren will turn into their Naga form and attack the player. They're fast in water but slow on land, and you can wear earplugs to safely pass by. Then we have the Death Worm, which can be tan, white, or red. They spawn in desert biomes. They drop up to 2 Death Worm chitin and rotten flesh, up to 1 Death Worm egg, and have a rare chance of dropping their tongue. They attack by lunging out of the sand and snapping their tongue at their prey. Giant Death Worms can launch sand over an area when they lunge. If a block of TNT is dropped near it, the worm will eat it and subsequently explode. They can only be tamed by hatching from an egg, and if a player has a fishing rod in each of their hands, they can mount a death worm regardless of it's tamed. You can press G to use a strike attack, and an untamed death worm may turn on the rider once dismounted. Next is the Cockatrice, which can be brown and green as a male, a white female, a yellow and green male chick, or a brown and white female chick. They spawn in savannas. They drop up to 3 feathers, 1 to 3 raw chicken, up to 2 wither bones, and a rare chance for a cockatrice eye or skull. If a player is looking directly at them, the player will get slowness, nausea 2, and wither 3. Wearing a blindfold makes the player immune to their stare, but the cockatrice will directly attack you instead. To tame them, you must look in their eye long enough for them to break and serve you. You can feed it seeds or drop rotten flesh to heal it. Baby cockatrices can be hatched from a rotten egg. Then we have the Stymphalian Bird, which spawn in swamp biomes in group of 3 up to 20. They drop 2 to 6 Stymphalian bird feathers, up to 4 iron ingots and nuggets, and a rare chance for them to drop their skull. They shoot a barrage of metallic feathers. If the player gets too close, they'll fly in and bite the player. Once one bird is killed, the rest flee. Wearing troll leather armor or other armor with projectile protection is recommended. Like and subscribe. Next up is the troll, which has 3 varieties: forest, mountain, and frost. They spawn in forest, mountains, and snowy tundras. They can often spawn in caves, including underground dragon caves. All trolls will drop troll tusks and troll leather, as well as a rare chance of dropping their skull. They'll also drop some kind of stone, stick, and bones. Variant specific drops can be found on the wiki, which is linked below. When they attack, they'll rush at their target. They'll smash any obstacles in their way with their club, and arrows bounce right off of them. They'll turn to stone if they're in the direct sunlight, so they won't leave caves or shady areas during the day. Breaking the stone troll with a pickaxe gives you 2 to 5 cobble. Next, we have the Myrmex, which are underground ant-like creatures with an elaborate caste system. Workers have 3 pairs of legs, a moderately sized thorax, and a moderately sized head. Soldiers are similar to workers, but are slightly larger and with darker bodies, and they also have larger mandibles. Sentinels have their first pair of legs as serrated forelegs, a scorpion-like tail, and they stand upright. Royals resemble the workers but are much larger. They have a slightly larger body and have 2 pairs of wings. The queen is the largest of them all. It resembles the worker. It has a pair of horns on her head and a long pulsating abdomen. Desert Myrmex are brown and jungle are cyan. Larvae and pupae are white. They spawn in Myrmex hives, which are large underground nests made of resin and bioluminescence in deserts and jungles. They drop Myrmex chitin, Myrmex resin chunks, and Myrmex stingers. The amount depends on what caste they're in. All castes are hostile to players, villagers, and foreign Myrmex. Soldiers and sentinels will attack anything nearby. Now let's explain this caste system. So the workers are the laborers of the hive. They will forage for food and other resources before bringing it back to the hive and storing it in cocoons found in food rooms. They will sometimes also carry eggs, larvae, and pupae from the queen's room to the nursery rooms. They are the weakest of all the caste. Then we have soldiers, which are the workers' bodyguards. They'll follow workers and protect them. They help them find food by subduing prey nearby, and they are stronger than workers. Then we have sentinels, which are the deadliest of all the castes. They stay near the entrance of the hive, waiting to ambush anything that gets near. They have high attack damage and fast attack speed. They inflict poison 4 with each sting. They snag targets with their forelegs and bite them to death. Next are the royals, which are the hive's means of reproduction. They will fly around looking for a mate if over 2,000 blocks from the hive. When 2 royals find each other, they'll fly into each other, fall to the ground, and begin mating. Upon successfully mating, one of the royals will immediately die, and the other becomes a queen and digs into the ground, spawning a new colony. Then we have the queen herself, the ruler of the hive and the sole reproductive member. She will walk around her room, laying eggs that will hatch into larvae. She can still defend herself. She does good damage and inflicts poison 3 for 9 seconds. If the queen dies, the entire colony crumbles. There is also a reputation system. Since Myrmex are naturally hostile, the only way you can get reputation at first is by throwing Myrmex chunks near a worker for +5 reputation. You can have a minimum of 0 and a max of 100. Damaging or killing Myrmex decreases reputation. If a player gets a reputation of 25, all Myrmex in the hive turn neutral to them. If they get a reputation of 50, all Myrmex will trade with them. A mostly comprehensive list of trades can be found in the wiki. A successful trade will result in 3 reputation points gained. If a player gets a reputation of 75, they can control the hive using a Myrmex staff. This lets them add or delete rooms from the hive and lets them disable the queen's reproductive abilities. If a Myrmex queen hatches from an egg after being in the shade for 35,000 ticks by default, she will bond with the closest player, giving that player permanent reputation 100 within her hive. The next mob we have is the sea serpent, which can be blue, deep blue, teal, green, purple, bronze, or red. They spawn in oceans and deep oceans, and they drop 1 to 20 sea serpent scales, 1 to 3 sea serpent fangs, and rarely a sea serpent skull. They have a melee attack, but can also shoot a jet of boiling water from range. The largest serpents are known as ancient sea serpents, and they make for a challenging fight. Finally, we have the ghosts, which can be white, blue, or green. They spawn in graveyards, which spawn in all biomes. They will rise out of graveyard soil during the night, and also will spawn when a cursed chest is open. They can also have a chance to spawn when a player is killed by another player. They drop up to 1 ectoplasm and have a rare chance to drop a phantasmal ingot. They're naturally hostile to players and villagers. They'll circle around their target before charging at them. When they're about to charge at you, a hallucination will fly across the screen of any nearby players. They can fly through walls. They're immune to all damage except for silver weapons and the phantasmal blade. When exposed to daylight, they will slowly fade into invisibility and be immune to all forms of damage until nighttime. Right-clicking a ghost holding a manuscript will play a special Easter egg. Next, we have the mini-bosses. First up is the Gorgon, which spawns in Gorgon temples, and these randomly spawn on beaches. They'll drop a Gorgon head on death. If the player and the Gorgon look directly at each other, the player will become petrified. Breaking a petrified player with a pickaxe yields 4 to 5 cobble. Gorgons can also turn other mobs to stone. Wearing a blindfold will protect you from her gaze, but can cause her to become aggressive and start directly attacking the player. Then is the Cyclops, which spawn in Cyclops coves, which randomly spawn in beach biomes. They can also rarely be found wandering in plains or savanna. They drop up to 10 raw mutton, 1 to 10 leather, up to 5 wool, and have a 50% chance to drop an eye of Cyclops and a rare chance of a Cyclops skull. They will attack practically everything nearby except for animals. They are expert sheep herders, and any nearby sheep will follow them. Any mob or player that attacks the sheep will anger the Cyclops. The Cyclops can stomp, kick, and grab their enemies. Wearing a full set of sheep disguise armor and sneaking around will prevent the Cyclops from detecting you. Hitting the Cyclops' eye with an arrow will wound it, reducing its detection range to just 4 blocks. Next we have the dragons, first of which is the fire dragon. This can be red, green, yellow, or gray. They go from 2 blocks long to a whopping 50 blocks long. They can spawn in any biome with a temperature above 0.5 except for jungles, savannas, and badlands. Stages 1 to 3 are found in roosts on the surface. Stages 4 to 5 are found deep underground in caverns. All dragons drop either dragon scales and a heart and flesh, or dragon blood. You can get the loot by right-clicking the fallen skeleton with an empty hand. A dragon skull and dragon bones are always dropped. A stage 4 to 5 female dragon will produce dragon eggs. Now, its abilities. It has a roar, which the dragon will let out a loud roar upon spotting the player. Stage 4 or above dragon roars will give weakness for 14 seconds. This can be negated if wearing earplugs. Next is the super roar, where a dragon will rarely rear back, spread its wings, and let loose a louder and more powerful roar. This will give weakness too. Then is bite, where the dragon will bite its target if on the ground. Then we have grab and shake, where if on the ground, a dragon will grab its target in its jaws and shake them to death. Then we have tail whip, where if grounded, a dragon will swing its tail sideways and knock a target back. We also have wing beat, where when grounded, a dragon will rear up and flap its wings, creating a gust of wind to knock its target backwards. Then is the fire breath, where the dragon will shoot a stream of fire at the target, scorching nearby blocks. Then we have the fire bomb, where a dragon will shoot a large fire bomb that explodes on impact, leaving behind a scorched, flaming crater. Then we have the aerial tackle, where if airborne, a dragon will swoop down on a target and then smack them down. To tame a dragon, you place a dragon egg in a fire. 2 dragons can be bred if stage 4 or above by feeding them fire lily mixture. Upon breeding, the female will create a nest and lay the eggs there. If you sneak click the dragon, you can access its inventory. There are 4 dragon armor slots and a slot for a banner. Each feeding of dragon meal grows them by 1 day, 25 days progresses a stage, and 125 days is needed for full size. Stage 1 dragons can be put on shoulders with right click, you can press X to get them off, and you can have 3 max. Stage 3 or above can be ridden if right-clicked with an empty hand. You press space to fly, X to go down, shift to dismount, R to breathe fire, and G for a strike attack. The Dragon Command Staff can tell the dragon to stay, wander, or follow the owner from above. You can store dragons in dragon horns. The Dragon Bone Flute will call a flying dragon down. The Dragon Summoning Crystal allows the owner to teleport to the dragon. You can sneak while using the Dragon Command Staff to set the dragon's home. Dragons stage 2 or above will breathe fire at an active fire dragon forge if there's one nearby. Then we have the Ice Dragon, which can be icy blue, sapphire blue, silvery gray, or snowy white. They spawn in any biome with a temp below 0.5. Stages 1 to 3 are found in roosts, and stages 4 and 5 are found in caverns underground. Their drops are the same as the Fire Dragon, but icy instead. The Roar, Super Roar, Bite, Grab and Shake, Tail Whip, Wing Beat, and Aerial Tackle attacks are all the same as the Fire Dragon. They also have a unique Ice Breath attack, which they will breathe an icy wind at the target, which freezes blocks in the area, causing large snow piles to form and leaving behind ice spikes, which damage targets that walk on them. They can also shoot ice bombs, which explode on impact, leaving behind a frozen, snow-covered crater as well as plenty of ice spikes. To hatch an Ice Dragon egg, it must be placed in water. Ice Dragons can be bred with Frost Lily mixture. The inventory, tame behavior, and interactions with specific items are all the same as the Fire Dragon. Ice Dragons stages 2 and above will breathe ice at an active Ice Dragon forge if nearby, and Ice Dragon skeletons spawn naturally in glacier biomes. Then we have the Lightning Dragon, which can be purple, black, bronze, or blue. They spawn in jungle, savanna, and badlands biomes. Their drops are the same as their previous dragons, but electric. They also have a Roar, Super Roar, Bite, Grab and Shake, Wing Beat, Aerial Tackle, just like the previous dragons, but they have Lightning Breath, where the dragon will breathe a stream of lightning at its targets, electrifying blocks in the area, and a Lightning Bomb, which explodes on impact, leaving behind a crater filled with crackled blocks. The egg will hatch if in the rain. Once it hatches, the baby dragon will be struck with a bolt of lightning. It can be bred with Lightning Lily mixture if the dragons are of opposite genders and above stage 4. The inventory, tame behavior, and interactions with specific items are all the same as their previous, and dragons stage 2 or above will breed lightning at an active lightning dragon forge if there's one nearby. Finally, we have the Hydras, which can be green, teal, or red. They'll initially have 3 heads, but can end up with between 2 and 9. They spawn in Hydra layers, which spawn in swamp biomes. They drop up to 5 Hydra fangs, 4 rotten flesh, a 10% chance of dropping a Hydra heart, and a rare chance of their skull. They will shoot venom from their jaws, dealing damage and inflicting poison. If their target gets too close, they'll strike at them, doing damage and inflicting poison. If a Hydra takes enough damage, one of its head will be destroyed and 2 more will grow back in its stead. Each additional head gives a boost in attack speed. However, if a Hydra is on fire, it is unable to regenerate any of its heads. As such, it's recommended to bring weapons with fire aspect when fighting the Hydra. Alright everybody, that's pretty much going to do it for the mods added by the Ice and Fire mod. Make sure to stick around for future videos where we cover the items, blocks, and structures. The link to the mod will be in the description below. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace out.